Hey you, welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
I'm wife.
And together we're reading the Bible.
Starting with Genesis and eventually ending with Revelations, we're working through every book and offering our atheist 2 cents.
Or shekels.
Yeah, those. We're asking questions and pointing out all the nonsense.
We aren't academics or scholars.
Nope. In fact, when it comes to religion, we really don't know anything at all.
What we've learned so far is that God's a dick.
Oh, he really is, isn't he? If you're interested in how we reached this startling conclusion, maybe start from episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in anywhere. It's all good.
Yep.
Hey wife, we just got a new sponsor. It's Anchor. They must think we're doing something right because they picked us back up.
That's amazing. Want to hear something even more amazing?
Yeah?
I actually know what they are.
You are full of shit. I'm calling your bluff. Tell me about Anchor.
Okay, so Anchor by Spotify is the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place.
I'm actually surprised you knew that, but did you also know that Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer?
Yes, because I see you do that on your phone all the time and it looks pretty simple.
It really is, and when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
But I use CastBox.
Yeah, darling, I know you like CastBox. It gets distributed there too, and lots of other platforms as well.
And how much are we paying for this awesome service?
Absolutely nothing.
Coolio! So then we should tell people to download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started?
Yep, do it now.
Hello, husband.
Hello, wife.
It is Tuesday.
That it is.
Q&A.
Again, you are correct.
Are you here for it?
I mean, I am here for it.
So, do you remember what happened in order to be able to have some Q's and some A's?
And the only thing I really remember is campsites.
Okay, so here's what happened. They were going along, and then a couple of the tribes were like, wait, you know what? We don't really want to go over there into the promised land.
Oh, that's right. Really... Reuben and somebody else.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's actually kind of nice here. And then Moses was kind of pissed. And then, so that was one of the chapters. The other chapter was a recap of the entire 40 years of where all they traveled.
Yeah, that was dumb. And,
well, that's where you were talking about them capitalizing...
Well, you were the one capitalizing.
Yeah. Why were some of the camps capitalized and why weren't they? So we're going to talk about both of those things, but not like in great detail because there wasn't a lot. So
yeah, I mean that happens.
Yeah. So so I pulled a few details that we can discuss on those 2 items.
All right. Well, you ready to get into it then?
I am.
Let's do this.
Okay. Okay, so my specific question that you reminded me of was why were some of the camps in that 40-year recap capitalized, whereas others were not?
Right.
And I don't have an answer for that particular question.
Ooh.
I know. Well, here's the best I could come up with is that, but I do have something else to say about it.
Okay.
But the best that I could come up with is that A, it was either the translation that we were reading was trash, which is entirely possible.
Right.
Or B, some of it was just Hebrew stuff that I don't understand, entirely possible.
Okay.
Or C, a combination thereof, which I suspect C.
Or D, just really shit editing, which I guess you kind of covered with your first reason.
Yeah, stupid.
Sorry, my bad.
Is somebody tired?
I mean, you know.
Right,
yeah.
Late night before. Yeah,
right,
makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know. Is the short answer.
No answer there.
No answer there.
Okay.
Moreover, I don't think it really fucking matters. I mean,
right. It's a bunch of fucking campsites. Yay!
Right. Exactly. But we did have some further question as to why they changed some of the names as they conquered them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it kind of made sense. But we just, like, we didn't ask, why did they change those names? We just kind of were like, yeah, I guess, whatever, dicks.
I just kind of assumed maybe they were named after pagan gods or something like that.
That was one of the reasons. In some of the places, it was to show authority.
Okay.
So they did it just to be like, we the boss.
Just a question real quick there. Didn't they kill all of them?
They were supposed to, yes.
So what authority are they trying to show?
Well, that's the thing. I think it's going to... I haven't read ahead because,
Okay.
you know, I don't want to and
Right, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that they... Remember that they were instructed to root out every single person. Don't leave one person alive at all.
Kill them all.
I suspect that they didn't.
I mean, yeah.
That makes sense.
Probably.
And so they were like, who's the boss? I'm the boss. And they renamed the town that
Or
they
maybe
conquered.
it was a show off to the neighbors, too.
And that as well. But also, in places where it wasn't to show authority, it was because God had also instructed them, supposedly, to forever erase any of those pagan gods out of history.
So it was what I was saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. To
All
get
right.
rid of those idolatry and all of that.
That makes sense,
To
I
get
guess.
rid of it. But it didn't work because we still know the names. So
Right.
they did a really shit job there too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be fair. The Israelites did a real shit job of just about everything.
It's true. They really, really did.
They were not the best at doing things.
At doing things. I mean, that could pretty much sum it up. So, that answers that question. Now, there was another question that I came across that kind of struck me as, oh, hey, so why, just to ask this again, why did those guys, Gad and whatever, Reuben, why did they want to stay in this land and not go any further?
Well, my guess was that they saw like prime land and they're like, guys, let's get this shit.
Right, let's just sit.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that would have been my guess.
That is the obvious answer, and it's not untrue.
Okay.
Okay? But it's not the full answer.
Okay.
So, there's a couple of things here. First off, do you remember that Reuben lost his birthright early on?
No. But,
yeah,
okay.
I kind of forgot about that until I was reading up on this a little bit. It's a tidbit of interesting stuff.
Okay.
I can't remember if Reuben lost his birthright because of something he did or if it was because of... I'm pretty sure it was his father was like, and also fuck this kid. Like, does that...
Oh, it was like right hand, left hand thing or something?
Something like that.
Or was that somebody else?
I don't know, but...
Okay. So,
like, it strikes a bell that Reuben had lost his birthright.
Okay.
And through no fault of his own.
Sure.
And although he was the firstborn of Israel, he was, like, not going to have anything good.
No claim.
Yeah. So he had every reason to be like, you know what? Y'all just go ahead without me. I'll go help you fight, but there's nothing once
There's
I
nothing
get there.
for me there.
Yeah, there's nothing for me over there.
Got
So
it.
I'll help you fight and I'll send my guys, but then when I'm done, I'm going to be here where it's nice and I'm just going to be in charge over here because here I can reclaim my birthright without reclaiming my birthright.
Sure.
Which makes sense and kind of actually lends a little bit of credence to his request. Like,
Right.
why should he go where he's on purpose, through no fault of his own, going to have anything good?
Right.
So, I don't know. That kind of made me feel better. I was like, oh, okay, Reuben. All right. And some of the other tribes that had also requested to remain behind, they were ones that came in later. So they didn't have any birthright to speak of either. They weren't going to have a lot.
Got it. So they were trying to claim something for themselves, basically.
Yeah,
instead of
they were like, why am I going to go over there and have a whole lot of nothing when I can stay back and I'll still help you fight? I'm with you.
Yeah.
But there's nothing for me there, you know? Like,
so these were Israelites that joined them after they left Egypt?
the Midianites and stuff, like the tribes that you know, it's kind of like conquer or join. You know what I mean? Like as they were traveling along, you had the option to either die or be one of us.
Got it. But I thought Reuben and Gad were actually like
they
parts
were.
of the Israelites.
They were, but there was another Midianite tribe that glommed on later.
Okay.
And so they were like, you know what? We're like not really part of you guys, so we're not going to get anything.
Got it.
Because we came later.
Got it.
So, and anyway, there was all these reasons why these people were like, Reuben in particular, were like, we're just going to stay back.
Right.
Where it's nice. So there's that, which I thought was just super interesting and added a little bit of context and made it a little more nuanced.
Right.
And it was enough of a reason that they're like, it's cool here. We good.
Yeah.
But it just gave them further rich reason to not want to go further.
Okay.
Then there was another thing that caught my attention. So these guys had a lot of fucking cattle, right?
Yeah.
That was their big
shit ton.
Yeah. Like that was their big reason that they gave was this land is so fucking hot for my cattle.
Right.
Okay. Why did this particular tribe have more cattle than anybody else when they all left Egypt with the same amount? And then 40 years later, like, it's not like they left with more than anybody else.
Maybe they were really good at breeding cattle.
Yes and
no. Or
no.
stealing cattle.
Yes and no. It's also been posited that perhaps they were a little more stingy with their sacrifices and their eating of holy blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so because of that, yay, they have more cattle, but now they're covetous of land for the cattle that they had, whether inadvertently or selfishly.
So when the option was a goat or the bird, they were like,
get the bird. Right. I mean, that's what me and you said the whole time. So, of course, that's what these guys were saying.
Yeah.
So, you know, they had all this cattle over time because they were stingy.
Got it.
Which also lends toward the notion that, I don't know, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, dude had lost his birthright from day one, right? When they took off.
Sure.
And then he's like thinking less of the entire people of Israel and more just of his tribe.
Right.
And then because of that, doesn't have anything and decide, you know what I mean? So he gets to this spot and he's like, I've got all this fucking cattle now, which yay, but also it doesn't look good on me. And also, you know, a lot of cattle is good for the people, but also bad for the way it looks and it's difficult to keep up with.
Right.
And so now I've got to have a place for them, and I'm not going to have a place over there, but I do have a place here. So, I mean, there was just so many reasons why he would want to stay back, but also it's like, do we look at him as a bad guy because he wasn't thinking of his neighbors? He wasn't thinking of the entire community of Israel?
I don't know. They seemed like a bunch of dumbasses to me. So, I mean,
but
I might be like, if it was me and it was my tribe, I might be like, let's just do things our way, and I'll do my best to mediate us not getting killed by God.
Let's just check the box.
Right.
Let's just get through this.
Right.
But I mean, we're supposed to think that like, oh, he lost his birthright, and oh, he, you know, wanted to stay back, and oh, he was selfish and didn't think of the people. Like, we're supposed to think badly of him for all of these choices that he maybe made.
Sure.
And I just don't see him that way. I see him as maybe he was doing the best he could with the lot he was given. Yeah. So, anyway, I just found all that very interesting. It made the whole decision to stay back more nuanced, and I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
So,
I mean, now we know more than we did before.
Right?
And that's, you know.
And none of that, of course,
great,
is saying exactly that's what happened. It just gives you more food for thought.
Sure.
Which I always really enjoy.
Part of the Bible to me is like, there's all these stories, and then there's all these stories of the stories. Mm-hmm. And then there's like the origins of the stories of the stories. And it's like, there's so much that, like, you could spend an eternity digging into this shit
Yeah.
and figuring out the origins of everything.
Exactly.
I mean, we're going for more surface here, I think, because this is our first time reading the Bible, and we're like, okay, what's that? What's this? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Now we know a little bit more about that. But it's just, literally, we could probably spend a year just talking about a couple of chapters.
Right. No, it's true. And what I find most interesting is like the Bible will say this is what happened, but then you read other things and you're like, well, I mean, that is what happened, but it's not quite the way. Like, you're telling me one tone, and there's more tones.
Well, sometimes the things that happen in the Bible, they happen in two different ways in the same chapter.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, it's because there's multiple writers, and they squeeze this shit in there.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, this happened this way, and it also happened this way. It's so fucking confusing.
It's very confusing.
And it's based on so many different things that there's just no way to, like, read this without being, A, confused and
I think be curious.
Yeah, like, no, I mean, that's part of... I am curious about the Bible because there is a lot of weight put on its meaning and its presence, and I think that understanding where it came from, what it is, and what it says is very important to me, because as an atheist, as somebody who does not believe in God, it's hard to listen to people talk to me about it and not know these things.
Right.
When I know, like, I'm listening to them talk about it, and just based on what I'm hearing from them, I'm like, I know you don't know shit about this.
Right.
Like, I can tell 90% of the time when I'm talking to a Christian, which is what we're surrounded with out here, basically.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to them, they don't know what they're talking about. They're quoting some random shit that their pastor passed out to them like last week.
Right. Or from their devotional that they read that morning or what the fuck ever.
Right. And they don't actually know what they're talking about at all.
Right.
And I never have known enough to, like, talk to them about it. But, like, I'm getting to that point. So, like, if somebody started talking to me about Exodus or Genesis or any of these things at this point, I would feel pretty comfortable talking about it, which makes me happy.
I don't know that I would feel comfortable, but I think that I would feel less lost.
Yeah.
And less... I think I would be able to ask the intelligent questions.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, I may not in the moment remember the thing that they were going to say, but then once they say it, I can be like, oh, yeah, but what about this? Or what about that?
Right, like, I mean, like, I don't remember how Reuben lost his fucking birthright. I do remember that he did. Like, once I stumbled upon it, I was like, oh, yeah, that did happen.
Right.
And, how many other people, I don't know. I like being able to connect the dots.
Definitely.
That's fun. It's cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it then?
Yeah, that's what I had. I mean, it was less Q and more unasked A's.
Well, hey, it's one more or a few more Q&A that we got A'd, and now we're done for today.
You're done.
And I'm trying to be a poet, and I didn't know it.
No, but you knew it, and you blew it.
I did.
This Thursday, though, will be the finale of the Book of Numbers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you guys got to tune in for the last chapter, or the last
3
section
chapters
that we're reading for Numbers. That's
the big 3.
Big stuff right there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then we'll have finished 4 books of the Bible.
Holy shit.
I know. That's amazing.
Wow.
That's more than I ever read of the Bible.
I mean, 1 was more than I ever read, so.
I know, but every time I'm like, I've read 4 now.
I know, right? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then you guys come on back on Thursday and join us for Numbers, whichever numbers they are, 34, 35, and 36.
That is correct.
Cool. I got that right.
I know. You pulled that out of your ass.
I wondered first. I did pull it out of my ass.
Good on you, because it happened to be right.
Right, yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys Thursday.
See ya. Hey, wife.
Yes, husband.
Did you know that we are now on Patreon?
Yes, because you told me, but also, no, tell me more.
So we're on Patreon now.
Are we?
We are, and our supporters can go there and support us, and we have multiple levels all the way up to You Killed God.
That sounds really drastic and escalated quickly-ish.
Well, no, there's multiple levels before there. So it escalates on a sliding scale of, cheap to not cheap. Oh. But, we can definitely use any amount. So, like, any support is always appreciated.
So what exactly is Patreon?
It's a place where you can show your support for our podcast. And
just our podcast?
Any podcast or any performer. But, we're the ones that, you're listening to right now. So maybe you should, support us. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. But we love you anyway.
So all you got to do is go to Patreon, look up Sacrilegious Discourse. It's actually patreon.com/Sacrilegious Discourse is our actual main page there. So head on over and send us some love.
Yeah.
So that ends this week's Q&A.
If you have questions, answers, or comments, please email them to us by next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, to be included in next Tuesday's Q&A episode.
Awesome. See ya.
Bye.